You are about to enter the Book of Night Manifestation, a forgotten teaching passed down through the ages. Here, you'll learn why the moments before sleep are the most powerful doorway for creation. What you accept as true tonight begins rearranging your life by morning. The Book of Night Manifestation. Introduction. The art of night manifestation flows from an ancient understanding. Your final thoughts before sleep become the seeds planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. As you drift into slumber, the barriers between conscious desire and subconscious power dissolve, creating a sacred window where transformation occurs naturally, without strain or effort. Your power to manifest accelerates when you release the need to control every detail. The universe responds not to your endless planning, but to the unwavering certainty that dwells in your heart as you rest. This certainty emerges when you allow yourself to feel the reality of your desire as you drift into sleep, knowing that the deeper mind works ceaselessly through the night to align circumstances in your favor. The moments before sleep are precious, a time when your mind becomes receptive to new patterns of thought. Here, you need not argue with doubt or wrestle with fear. Instead, you simply rest in the knowing that what you seek is already yours. This gentle acceptance, this peaceful surrender, opens channels that forced affirmations cannot reach. Your subconscious mind speaks the language of images and feelings. As you prepare for sleep, hold the image of your desire lightly, like a photograph you're admiring. Feel the emotions that would naturally arise if your desire were already manifest. Let these feelings be your lullaby. The key lies not in exhausting yourself with repetition, but in achieving that single moment of complete acceptance before sleep takes hold. When you master this art, you'll wake to find that your inner shift has already begun creating ripples in your outer world. Subtle changes in your perceptions, unexpected opportunities, and inspired actions that feel effortless and natural. Night manifestation is the practice of trusting in the wisdom that works through you while you sleep, knowing that your conscious mind need not supervise every step of creation. Before we get into the book, comment, "I am ready," to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Doorway of One Night. Chapter 1. The Night You Decide. In a quiet village among ancient hills, a merchant named Dottie lived her days rehearsing tales of what could go wrong. Each morning she would count the ways life might disappoint her, preparing herself for the worst. Yet one evening, as shadows lengthened across her bedroom floor, something within her shifted. As she reached to turn off her lamp, she whispered not a wish, but a verdict to herself. A simple statement of what she knew would be. This moment holds the first key to unlocking the gates of manifestation. When you transform from one who waits to one who receives, the universe responds to this new identity. Your subconscious mind, that faithful servant of your deepest beliefs, accepts most readily what you present to it in those drowsy moments before sleep claims you. The power lies in selecting one clear outcome, distilling it into the simplest truth your heart can embrace. As you lay your head upon your pillow, let this truth settle into your being, not as a desperate plea, but as an acknowledgement of what is already in motion. Consider the tale of Mabel, who entered an exquisite bakery despite her empty purse. Rather than shrinking from her desire, she approached the counter with quiet certainty, ordering precisely what she wanted as though abundance was her natural state. The owner, perceiving this subtle air of assurance, saw not a customer but a potential colleague, offering her a position that very moment. This tale teaches us not to expect gold to rain from the heavens, but rather that when you carry yourself with relaxed certainty, you begin to notice opportunities that were always present. Your questions become bolder, and the world mirrors back your confidence with unexpected openings. As the night draws near, select one desire, just one, and let it be your final thought. Allow your body to soften into your bed, as though what you seek is already approaching on silent feet. Sleep beckons you to enter it, wearing the feeling of being divinely supported. Practice unfolds naturally as you rest one hand upon your chest, allowing your breath to gentle your jaw. Whisper a single line that rings true in your heart. It is safe for this to work out. Let this affirmation dissolve into a warm vision of tomorrow's dawn, where you stand grateful and at peace. Drift into slumber, wrapped in this gratitude, wearing it like a cloak that has always belonged to you. Chapter 2. The Subconscious Loves Pictures. Your subconscious mind speaks in images, feelings, and quiet knowing. It is a master storyteller that shapes your reality through the pictures you feed it. When you argue with possibility, debate every detail, or demand proof before belief, you create resistance in the very fabric of manifestation. In the depths of night, as the world grows still, your mind becomes most receptive to new patterns. This is when the veil between desire and reality grows thin. The ancient ones knew this truth. They called it the hour of power, when the conscious mind releases its grip and the deeper self accepts new truths without resistance. Think of Betsy, who spent countless hours analyzing every angle of her desires, weighing pros and cons until possibility felt heavy with doubt. Then came the night she simply let go. Instead of wrestling with how and when, she allowed herself to sink into the feeling of already having what she wanted. As she drifted to sleep, holding this gentle certainty, something shifted. The next day, she moved through the world differently. Her voice carried new authority, her choices flowed with natural grace, and circumstances seemed to bend toward her intention. This is not mere coincidence. Your subconscious mind responds not to logical arguments, but to sensory impressions paired with emotion. When Winnie stood before her mirror, practicing a smile that felt foreign to her face, she was doing more than rehearsing. She was programming her neural pathways with new possibilities. As she imagined a friend's congratulations, she planted seeds in fertile soil. Within a week, that exact scene materialized, the words she had pictured coming to life in an unexpected email. The mirror becomes your ally in this practice, not as an instrument of vanity, but as a tool for reimagining who you are becoming. What you can comfortably see yourself experiencing becomes the blueprint for what you attract. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, choose one scene, no longer than 10 seconds. Make it simple, clear, and filled with the feeling of natural fulfillment. Let it become your companion as drowsiness approaches. Practice continues as you close your eyes and build the scene with gentle detail, the texture of an object in your hand, the sound of a supportive voice, the ease in your shoulders, and you let the scene loop slowly until your breath matches the calm of already having. Then you let sleep take you while the picture remains like a lantern behind your eyelids. Chapter 3. The Release That Accelerates. In the quietude of night, a profound truth emerges. Manifestation accelerates not through force, but through surrender. Your grip on outcomes, though born of natural instinct, often becomes the very barrier between you and your desires. When you clutch tightly to how things must unfold, you inadvertently signal to the universe that you expect struggle rather than support. Your protective mind, ever vigilant, believes that constant monitoring will ensure success. Yet this vigilance creates tension, and tension becomes a silent message that echoes through the quantum field. I must control this because I don't trust it will happen naturally. This is not wrong. It is the loving effort of your inner guardian trying to keep you safe. The art of releasing does not mean abandoning your dreams. Instead, it means shifting from controller to receiver, from forcing to allowing. This subtle transformation holds remarkable power. When you release your iron grip on the steering wheel of manifestation, you open space for the universe to orchestrate solutions beyond your current imagination. The subconscious mind requires safety to create change. When you acknowledge your protective patterns with gratitude, then gently redirect them toward maintaining your peace rather than your struggle, you create an internal environment where manifestation can flow naturally. Your protector becomes your ally in remaining open, receptive, and well-rested. States that magnetize success far more effectively than anxiety ever could. Think of manifestation like planting a garden. You don't pull on the stems to make flowers grow faster. You create optimal conditions, then trust the natural process. Similarly, your role is not to force outcomes, but to maintain fertile soil in your consciousness. This means releasing the compulsion to check constantly for results or insist on specific timelines. The universe operates through infinite channels, most of which your conscious mind cannot predict or control. When you release your attachment to particular methods or time frames, you allow the wisdom of the universal mind to select the most elegant path to your desire. Often, the route that unfolds is far more beneficial than the one you initially imagined. Practice arrives as you exhale longer than you inhale. Whisper, "I release the timeline," and imagine placing your desire into gentle hands larger than yours. Then you feel your shoulders drop and you let sleep become the signal that the work is happening even when you are not watching. Chapter 4. One Desire Beats 10. Wishes. When you chase every dream at once, your energy scatters like leaves in the wind. This ancient wisdom whispers through time. The power lies not in quantity of desires, but in the depth of focus you grant to one chosen intention. In the sacred hours before sleep, your mind becomes a vessel, ready to receive and amplify a single clear instruction. Think of the difference between sunlight spread across a field and that same light focused through a magnifying glass. It is not the amount of light that creates transformation, but its coherence, its unity of purpose. Your subconscious mind speaks the language of clarity. When you present it with a jumble of wishes, it hesitates, unsure which path to illuminate. But when you offer one pure intention, held steady like a lamp in the darkness, it recognizes this signal and begins its quiet work of rearrangement. This is the art of conscious choosing, not the frantic gathering of desires, but the gentle selection of one seed to plant in the fertile soil of night. Your mind, relieved of its constant switching between wishes, can finally settle into the frequency of receiving. Consider how water shapes stone not through force, but through persistent focus on a single point. Your attention works in the same way, wearing away resistance through devoted concentration rather than scattered effort. Each night becomes a sacred vessel for one intention. This is not limitation, but liberation. Freedom from the exhaustion of trying to manifest everything at once. As you select your single focus, feel the relief of releasing all other concerns until tomorrow. Your chosen intention need not be grandiose. Often, the simplest desires create the strongest resonance, peace, clarity, connection. These fundamental states become the foundation from which larger manifestations naturally arise. Let your mind rest in the simplicity of one clear purpose. Feel how your energy, no longer divided, grows stronger and more coherent. This is the secret frequency that the universe recognizes and reflects back to you with increasing speed. Practice becomes a quiet choosing as you say, "Just tonight I let this be the only thing," and you picture a small seed in your palm. Then you place it in the soil of sleep with trust, feeling the tenderness of committing to one miracle and letting it grow unseen. Chapter 5. The feeling is the magnet. In the silence before sleep, a single genuine feeling holds more power than 1,000 empty words. Your heart knows this truth. Manifestation flows through the channel of emotion, not through mechanical repetition of phrases that hold no resonance within. Think of your desires as music. You might memorize the notes perfectly, yet still miss the melody that makes them come alive. The universe responds not to the sheet music of your words, but to the symphony of your feelings. When you align your emotional state with what you wish to attract, you become like a tuning fork, vibrating at the frequency of your desire. The law of attraction operates through your body's wisdom. Each cell carries the memory of what feels true, what feels possible, what feels natural. When you speak affirmations without embodying their essence, you create static in your manifestation signal. But when you sink into the feeling state of your desire, be it peace, abundance, or love, you broadcast a clear frequency that the universe can match. Your nervous system is the antenna through which manifestation occurs. It must feel safe to receive before abundance can flow. This is why forcing positive thoughts often creates resistance, while gently inhabiting a feeling state creates alignment. The feeling of relief, of coming home, of finally letting go. These are not rewards that follow manifestation. They are the very bridge that allows manifestation to cross from the unseen into the seen. Consider money not as numbers, but as the feeling of security it represents. Picture love not as a person, but as the sensation of being cherished. See success not as achievement, but as the quiet knowing that you are enough. When you fall asleep bathed in these feelings, you teach your subconscious what to expect, and expectation becomes the seed of manifestation. Your evening practice becomes sacred when you treat it as emotional attunement rather than mental effort. As you lay your head upon your pillow, you need only find the feeling that matches your desire. Let it spread through your body like warm honey, teaching every cell a new normal. This is not pretending. It is practicing the emotional frequency of what you wish to attract. Practice continues as you breathe into the feeling like you are inflating a calm balloon in your chest. Then you let that calm spread through your limbs, and you fall asleep telling your body, "This is what life feels like now," letting the sensation be your final, convincing prayer. Chapter 6. The Night Script. A merchant once carried a heavy book filled with grievances, recording each setback until its chapters bent under the weight of disappointment. Night after night, she wrote her worries into existence, unknowingly strengthening their hold on her tomorrows. Until one evening, a wise woman shared an ancient secret: the power of writing from the end. The truth you are about to discover has transformed countless lives through the ages. Your words before sleep are seeds planted in fertile soil, and when those words speak from completion rather than want, they take root in the depths of your being. This is not mere writing. It is the art of scripting reality. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between vividly imagined experience and physical reality. When you write as if your desire has already manifested, you create a bridge between what is and what will be. This bridge becomes strongest in the quiet moments before sleep, when the conscious mind's guard begins to lower. Faye used to journal as a way to complain. Then she discovered that writing before sleep can be a spell when it is written from the end, as if the desire has already happened. The core teaching is that your brain treats vivid language as experience. And when you write a short scene of fulfillment, you give your subconscious a map to follow while you sleep. The key is simplicity and sincerity, because forced perfection triggers resistance, while honest gratitude signals readiness. June wrote a single paragraph beginning with "Thank you for this working out so beautifully," and she fell asleep with ink on her fingers and hope in her throat. Then she woke with an idea that solved the problem she had been circling for months. The interpretation is that scripting is not magic paper. It is identity practice, and sleep seals identity like wax on a letter. Tonight you write a few lines that sound like the morning after your miracle, and you let your handwriting be slow enough to feel real. Let each word carry the weight of truth, not the strain of trying. Write as if telling a trusted friend about the wonderful way everything unfolded. Your words need not be elaborate. Simplicity carries power when it springs from genuine feeling. Practice moves softly as you close your notebook. Place it near your bed like a promise. Reread your own words with a small smile. And let your eyes grow heavy while gratitude hums in the background, as if your future is already sending you a thank you note. Chapter 7. Signs without chasing. In the early days of spiritual awakening, many become entranced by the dance of synchronicities, those mystical numbers, recurring symbols, and whispered messages that seem to sparkle across their path. Yet within this ancient wisdom lies a deeper truth about the nature of manifestation and trust. Your attention holds the power of creation itself. Each thought, each lingering gaze, plants seeds in the fertile soil of tomorrow. When your eyes frantically search for signs, your spirit remains tethered to the energy of seeking rather than having. This subtle distinction shapes the speed and grace with which your desires materialize. The universe speaks in many tongues, through numbers that catch your eye, through feathers that float across your path, through songs that seem to answer your silent questions. Yet these are not the substance of manifestation, but rather its sweet aftermath. They are like dessert after a nourishing meal, delightful but not essential for sustenance. The deeper teaching reveals itself in the quiet hours before sleep, when your mind finally releases its grip on proof and settles into the gentle knowing that all is well. It is in these moments of surrender that the real magic unfolds. Your subconscious mind, like a master gardener, works best in the peaceful soil of certainty rather than the rocky ground of doubt. Think of signs as gentle nods from the universe, acknowledgments of your alignment rather than prerequisites for your success. When you witness them, smile softly and return to your chosen state of having. This light touch, this easy acceptance, keeps you in the receiving frequency, where manifestation flows most naturally. Those who have walked this path before tell of their greatest breakthroughs arriving not in moments of desperate searching, but in times of peaceful occupation with life itself. The universe often delivers its most profound answers when you've stopped demanding them, much like sleep comes easiest when you've ceased trying to force it. Remember, the essence of your desire matters more than any symbol could. The universe responds to the feeling tone of your being, not to your ability to spot meaningful patterns. Trust grows not from collecting signs, but from maintaining your inner alignment, regardless of external validation. Practice becomes a tender agreement as you say, "I notice, I appreciate, I let it be," and you imagine placing every question on a shelf until morning, allowing your mind to rest in quiet certainty, while the unseen arranges what no amount of checking could ever speed up. Chapter 8. The Bridge of Small Actions. A gentle awakening awaits those who understand that transformation rarely arrives as a thunderbolt, but rather as a whispered suggestion in the morning light. The path of manifestation unfolds not in dramatic leaps, but in steps so natural they might be overlooked by those seeking spectacle. When your desires feel vast, the universe often responds with bridges, those small but significant pathways that lead from where you stand to where you wish to be. These bridges appear as subtle impulses, quiet thoughts that arise with the dawn, or simple actions that feel effortless yet meaningful. The law of attraction works through your intuitive guidance system. Your subconscious mind, having processed your nighttime intentions, delivers its wisdom not through grand proclamations, but through gentle nudges that feel right in the moment. These nudges might seem insignificant, a sudden urge to organize a space, make a phone call, or walk down an unfamiliar street. Yet within these simple promptings lie the seeds of manifestation. Think of your manifestation as a flower opening. It doesn't force its petals apart all at once, but unfolds naturally, each movement perfectly timed. Your role is not to demand the full bloom immediately, but to trust the process of becoming. Each small action you take in alignment with your inner guidance creates momentum, and momentum is the mother of miracles. Many who practice night manifestation discover that their most significant breakthroughs began with actions so simple they almost dismiss them. A conversation that seemed casual led to an introduction that changed everything. A book that practically fell into their hands contained the exact information they needed. A spontaneous decision to attend an event aligned them with their destiny. The key lies in honoring these bridges when they appear. When you wake with an impulse that feels light and clear, follow it without demanding to see where it leads. The universe often conceals its grandest gifts in the most ordinary packages, testing your trust through your willingness to take small steps without guarantees. This is the art of aligned action, moving in harmony with the subtle guidance that emerges after your night practice. The speed of your manifestation often correlates directly with your willingness to act on these quiet promptings. Each step taken in trust becomes a signal to the universe that you are ready for more. Practice drifts in as you whisper, "Show me the bridge." Then you imagine waking up with calm motivation, and you let sleep hold the question while you surrender the answer, trusting that morning will carry a simple instruction wrapped in ease. Chapter 9. Worthiness is a choice. Daisy believed good things were for other people, and her manifestations kept stalling at the edge of receiving until she decided to practice worthiness like a skill. The core teaching is that the subconscious filters reality through self-concept. So, if you secretly feel undeserving, you will reject opportunities, delay responses, and find reasons to wait. Worthiness is not earned through struggle. It is claimed through acceptance, and night is the best time to install that acceptance because the mind is softer. Your inner world holds a sacred truth. You were born worthy. Yet many walk through life carrying an invisible shield that deflects blessings, believing they must first become someone else to deserve them. This shield was not built in a day, and neither is it dismantled in one, but each night offers a chance to soften its edges. The universe speaks in the language of abundance, yet we often translate its messages through the lens of lack. When opportunity knocks, the unworthy mind creates elaborate reasons why the knock must be meant for another door. This is not your natural state. It is a learned response that can be unlearned in the gentle hours before sleep. Millie held her breath whenever someone praised her. Then she practiced breathing in the compliment at bedtime, and soon she started saying yes to offers she used to sabotage. The interpretation is that receiving is a muscle, and sleep can be the gym where you train it gently. Tonight you let yourself be chosen in your imagination, and you allow that choosing to feel normal. The path of manifestation opens fully when you stop tiptoeing around your desires and plant your feet firmly in the soil of self-worth. Each night becomes an opportunity to lay down the heavy armor of unworthiness and rest in the simple truth that good things can flow to you as naturally as breath. Practice continues as you place a hand on your belly and say, "I am allowed to have this," and you let the words sink down with each exhale, feeling your body accept them without debate. Then you fall asleep as someone who belongs in the room where miracles happen. Chapter 10. The One-Night Miracle Mindset. From the earliest whispers of wisdom, those who understood the sacred laws knew that transformation requires not years of toil, but a single moment of pure acceptance. This truth lay waiting for you, as it waited for Etta, who discovered that one night could hold more power than months of striving. Picture a garden where 1,000 seeds scatter in the wind, each seeking soil but finding no home. Then envision one seed, planted with intention in the rich earth of a single evening. This is the wisdom of the night approach, not a marathon of manifestation, but a gentle moment of allowing. The universe responds not to the length of your effort, but to the depth of your acceptance. When Etta shifted from endless preparation to present permission, she discovered that tonight was enough to begin. This simple shift transformed her exhaustion into quiet power, like a lamp suddenly finding its flame. The ancient ones knew that urgency creates resistance, while immediacy opens doors. When you declare one night as your sacred beginning, you step into the timeless space where all possibilities exist. Your subconscious mind, ever attentive to your deepest commitments, recognizes this declaration and begins its swift work of rearranging patterns, perceptions, and pathways. Gloria understood this when she transformed her bedroom into a sanctuary for that single night. She did not need elaborate rituals or complex ceremonies. She simply cleared a space, lit a candle, and declared her readiness. The next morning carried a different quality. Her choices flowed from a well of peace she had not known before. This is the hidden teaching. Miracles often arrive first as subtle shifts in your inner atmosphere. These shifts may seem small, like the first breath of dawn, yet they alter the course of your destiny. With new eyes, you see different opportunities. With renewed spirit, you make different choices. The world responds to this altered frequency, not because it has changed, but because you have granted yourself permission to receive its gifts. Your one night begins now. Not with fanfare or force, but with gentle certainty. Like a master key turning in an ancient lock, this simple decision opens doors long thought sealed. The universe asks only for your willingness to begin. Practice arrives as you dim the lights, tidy one small space, and whisper, "This is my start." Then you imagine tomorrow you thanking tonight you, and you drift off, feeling the quiet thrill of a new timeline already unfolding. Part 2. The Dream Workshop. Chapter 11. Cleansing the Day Before Sleep. In the quietest moments before sleep, your thoughts often carry the weight of the day's unfinished business. Like ivy, you may find your nights feeling dense with accumulated emotion, each worry and tension settling into your bones like dust that refuses to settle. Yet within this ancient wisdom lies a truth. Manifestation flows most freely through a vessel that has been gently emptied. The universe speaks in whispers, and these whispers are heard most clearly in a mind that has released its burdens. Your subconscious mind, that faithful servant of your deepest beliefs, takes its nightly instructions not from your conscious wishes, but from your dominant emotional state. It is why a simple ritual of release holds more power than hours of forced positive thinking. Think of your mind as a sacred vessel. Before filling it with pure water, you must first pour out the old. This is not about denying your experiences or suppressing your feelings. Instead, it is about honoring them enough to give them proper completion. Each emotion that arises deserves acknowledgement. Each fear warrants gentle recognition. When met with compassion, these feelings naturally complete their cycle, like waves returning to the sea. Edith discovered this truth when she stopped fighting her nighttime replays of difficult conversations. Rather than pushing these thoughts away or drowning them in affirmations, she began to see them as passing boats on a river. She would watch each thought float by, acknowledging its presence without clinging to its story. As she practiced this gentle release, her sleep deepened naturally, and her mornings carried a freshness that made manifestation feel effortless. This clearing process is not about erasing or denying what happened during your day. It is about completion. When you complete an emotional cycle, you free the energy that was bound in holding patterns of resistance or regret. This freed energy becomes available for creation, like soil that has been gently tilled and is ready for new seeds. As you prepare for sleep tonight, allow yourself to give the day back to the day. Keep only what serves your growth, the lessons learned, the strength gained, the wisdom earned. Everything else can be released with gratitude for its teaching. Practice continues as you exhale the names of your worries without solving them, letting each worry leave your body like mist. And you invite a clean inner silence to settle over you, so your intention can land on clear soil and take root in peace. Chapter 12. The Sleepy Yes. In the gentle hours between day and night, when thought begins to soften like wax, the deepest changes become possible. The threshold of sleep opens a sacred doorway where resistance melts and permission takes root. This ancient truth reveals itself in the story of Ginger, who discovered that all her daytime affirmations held less power than one whispered yes, as consciousness began to fade. The core teaching speaks to the natural hypnotic state that exists in these precious moments before sleep claims us. Here the conscious mind's guard towers lower, and the subconscious realm opens like a flower at dusk. This is why a gentle suggestion, placed with care in these twilight moments, can reshape your inner landscape more profoundly than hours of determined effort during waking hours. The subconscious mind recoils from force, but embraces invitation. It turns away from demand, but welcomes permission. This truth manifests in the art of night manifestation, where the lightest touch often yields the strongest results. Your evening practice need not be elaborate or intense. A simple, heartfelt yes carries more power than 1,000 forced declarations. Consider Velma's transformation. Trapped in work that drained her spirit, she discovered that falling asleep with the simple acceptance of guidance changed everything. Her nightly whisper, "I am guided to the right place," became a lamp that illuminated possibilities previously hidden in shadow. Her eyes, newly trained by this gentle acceptance, began to notice doorways where before she saw only walls. This practice speaks to the subtle power of attention. What we accept as possible shapes what we perceive as available. The universe does not require elaborate rituals or complex affirmations. It responds to the quiet opening of a heart ready to receive. Tonight, as you approach the threshold of sleep, you are invited to offer one small yes to your desire. Like opening a window in a stuffy room, this simple permission allows fresh possibilities to enter. Practice drifts in as you let your eyelids grow heavy and softly say yes to support, yes to timing, yes to being helped. Then you allow the word yes to become a gentle rocking motion that carries you into sleep while your subconscious holds it like a key. Chapter 13. Rewriting the Old Story. The story you tell yourself as you rest your head upon your pillow shapes the reality that unfolds with each new dawn. Your subconscious mind, ever faithful to the narratives it holds true, works tirelessly to create experiences that validate these beliefs. Yet, within the sacred space between waking and sleeping, lies a precious opportunity to release the stories that no longer serve you. Consider how Clara discovered that her recurring challenges wore different masks but stemmed from the same root, an old tale she had outgrown yet continued to honor. In those quiet moments before sleep, when the mind's defenses naturally soften, she found the courage to lay down this familiar burden. The wisdom here runs deep as water. Your life unfolds according to the story you most deeply believe. Like an author crafting a novel, your subconscious edits each day's events to maintain consistency with its accepted plot. This explains why similar patterns repeat, not because you are trapped, but because you remain loyal to an outdated script. The path to transformation begins with gentle acknowledgement. Name the line that has guided your choices, thank it for its protective intention, and offer yourself a new truth that feels authentic yet kind. This is not about forcing false positivity, but about choosing a story that allows for growth while still feeling believable. Marjorie's journey illuminates this principle clearly. Her belief that love was always temporary colored every relationship until she began using those drowsy moments to imagine steadfast affection as her new normal. This simple practice gradually shifted her choices, attracting and recognizing partners capable of commitment. When you revise your story before sleep, you bypass the usual resistance that daylight brings. The mind is more receptive, like soil softened by evening rain, ready to accept new seeds of possibility. Your new narrative becomes a lullaby that plays throughout the night, programming fresh patterns while you rest. Tonight, identify one sentence that has been secretly directing your life. Perhaps, "I must struggle to succeed," or "No one understands me." Hold it gently, thank it for trying to keep you safe, then choose a new line that opens the door to different possibilities. Perhaps success flows to me naturally, or I attract deep understanding. Practice continues as you whisper, "That was then, this is now," and you let the new sentence repeat with your breathing until it feels like a soft truth. Then you fall asleep, as the author of a kinder chapter already being written. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Gratitude That Feels Real. Once hidden in dusty tomes of wisdom lies a truth so simple yet potent. The art of genuine gratitude begins with the smallest acknowledgments. In the quiet moments before sleep, these tiny recognitions become seeds of transformation. Hazel's story mirrors what many discover on this path. She would recite grand proclamations of thankfulness, yet each word felt hollow, echoing against the walls of her bedroom without reaching her heart. Her breakthrough came not through grander statements, but through whispered appreciation for the warmth of her tea, the softness of her socks, the steady rhythm of her breath. The universe responds not to the volume of our gratitude, but to its authenticity. When you force appreciation, your subconscious recognizes the strain and withdraws. Yet when you find something truly worthy of thanks, no matter how small, your entire being aligns with that truth. This alignment creates an opening through which greater abundance naturally flows. Consider Blanche, who began her evening ritual by simply thanking her pillow for supporting her head each night. This wasn't spiritual bypassing or toxic positivity. It was pure, unadorned truth. From that single honest acknowledgement, she found herself noticing more: the reliable warmth of her blanket, the peaceful silence of night, the gentle protection of her home. Each genuine thank you became a note in a melody of abundance, and her world began responding in kind. The wisdom here runs deeper than mere positive thinking. Your subconscious mind is like a sensitive instrument, attuned to the frequency of your authentic emotions. When you offer sincere gratitude, even for the smallest things, You signal to your deeper mind that you are safe, supported, and ready to receive more. This creates a foundation of trust from which larger manifestations can emerge. You need not search for grand reasons to be grateful. The power lies in recognizing the small ways life already supports you. The reliable sunrise, the functioning of your hands, the air filling your lungs. These simple acknowledgments carry more manifesting power than forced appreciation for things you don't yet feel. As you prepare for sleep tonight, gather 3 small treasures of gratitude. Perhaps it's the comfort of your bed, the sound of crickets outside your window, or the taste of clean water. Let each one be true. Let each one be felt. This practice isn't about changing your entire perspective in one night. It's about building a bridge of authentic appreciation between where you are and where you wish to be. Practice becomes a soft counting in your mind as you thank what is already here, letting each thank you relax your face, and then you add one thank you for what is coming, not as a demand, but as a tender expectation you can fall asleep holding. Chapter 15. Dream Messages and Inner Guidance. In the space between sleeping and waking lies a sacred classroom where your deepest wisdom speaks in the language of symbols and feelings. Each night offers guidance if you know how to listen with an open heart. Tessie's experience touches upon an ancient truth. Her dream, initially brushed aside as meaningless, carried whispers of insight that could illuminate her path. Like many who walk this road of manifestation, she discovered that the sleeping mind often knows what the waking mind resists. The art of night manifestation deepens when you understand that dreams are not random images, but messages from your inner sanctuary. Your subconscious mind, free from the constraints of daily logic, weaves stories that reflect your true relationship with your desires. These stories may appear strange or nonsensical, yet they carry emotional truth that can accelerate your journey. Consider how your dreams mirror your relationship with abundance, love, or success. A dream of being unprepared for an exam might reveal where you feel unworthy. A dream of flying could signal your readiness to expand. The wisdom lies not in rigid interpretation, but in the feeling the dream leaves in your heart. Roxanne's dream of missing the train spoke directly to her fear of lost opportunities. By recognizing this message, she could address the root of her hesitation. Instead of forcing herself to act faster, she soothed the ancient worry that time was running out. This gentle acknowledgement transformed her energy from anxious rushing to confident flowing. You need not become a master dream interpreter. The key is simply to welcome these nighttime messages with curiosity rather than judgment. Ask yourself, what emotion lingered upon waking? What pattern might this dream be highlighting? Let the answers arise naturally, like bubbles floating to the surface of still water. Your subconscious speaks most clearly when you approach it with respect and patience. Before sleep, create a quiet moment of invitation. Clear your mind of the day's chaos and open yourself to guidance. Sometimes the most profound insights come not from complex dreams, but from simple feelings that greet you in the morning. This practice of paying attention to dreams adds another layer to your manifestation work. It allows you to align both your conscious and unconscious mind with your desires, creating a powerful harmony that attracts results with greater ease. Practice continues as you place your phone away, rest your palm on your heart, and whisper, Show me what helps. Then you let sleep come with openness, and in the morning you jot a few lines from any dream, letting its mood gently teach you what your subconscious is ready to shift. Chapter 16. The Power of Night Boundaries. Lana said yes to everyone, and then tried to manifest in the leftover scraps of her energy, and nothing felt steady until she protected her evenings. The core teaching is that boundaries are spiritual technology because they preserve the frequency you are trying to sustain, and your subconscious trusts you more when you consistently choose rest over chaos. Night manifestation works best when your nervous system is not flooded, so you create a small closing ritual and you stop feeding your mind late-night drama, because whatever you consume becomes your inner soundtrack. Your evening hours are not spare moments to be filled, but sacred space where miracles begin their quiet work. When you honor this time, you signal to the universe that you value the very energy needed to transform your life. This is not about perfection, but about protection, guarding the delicate frequency where manifestation thrives. The night holds ancient power, but this power requires preparation. Just as a garden needs tending before seeds can flourish, your inner soil needs protection from the constant barrage of external demands. This protection comes through gentle yet firm boundaries that say, "This time is mine." Dolores used to scroll until she felt anxious. Then she started turning off the noise earlier, and she noticed her desires felt more believable because her mind was not buzzing with comparison. The interpretation is that attention is a currency, and you spend it where you expect returns. Tonight you set a simple boundary that protects your peace, and you treat it as devotion, not deprivation. When you establish sacred evening boundaries, you're not just creating quiet moments, you're building a foundation for manifestation. Each time you honor these boundaries, you strengthen your relationship with the universe, showing that you're ready to receive by first being ready to rest. Practice continues as you dim your world on purpose, letting quiet become a friend, and you tell yourself, "I am allowed to rest." Then you fall asleep with the sweet dignity of someone who values their inner life enough to guard it. Chapter 17. Detaching from the How. Priscilla could imagine what she wanted, but obsessively planned every route, and her nights felt tense until she learned that control is often disguised fear. The core teaching is that the subconscious can orchestrate surprising connections when you stop insisting on one doorway, and the law of attraction responds to essence. So you focus on the feeling and let the path be flexible. When you hold too tightly to a single path, you unconsciously tell the universe that this narrow way is the only acceptable answer. Yet the universe speaks in possibilities, not limitations. It weaves connections through countless threads, many of which remain invisible until the perfect moment of revelation. Detachment is not indifference, it is trust, and trust is the signal that you believe you will be supported. This truth lies at the heart of night manifestation, the willingness to rest in certainty while releasing the grip on method. Your desire knows its destination, but the route may wind through unexpected territories of grace. Consider how water finds its way to the sea, not by forcing a single channel, but by flowing around obstacles, discovering hidden passages, and merging with other streams. Your manifestations work in similar ways, gathering momentum through surrender rather than strain. Bernice wanted a specific person to fix everything, Then she released the fixation, and soon a different ally appeared with the exact resources she needed. The interpretation is that your mind chooses familiar solutions, but the universe can choose better ones, and your job is to stay open. Tonight you give up one rigid plan and keep only the desire, letting sleep hold the details for you. Just as night arrives without your supervision, let your manifestations unfold in their own divine timing. Release the urge to orchestrate every detail. The universe holds wisdom beyond your current vision, waiting to surprise you with solutions more elegant than your careful calculations. Practice becomes a soft unclenching as you imagine opening your hand and letting the plan float away like a balloon, while the desire remains in your heart, steady and safe, and you drift into sleep repeating, "I allow the best way." Chapter 18. The Receiving Identity. In the depths of night, a profound truth emerges. The art of receiving holds equal power to the art of creating. You have mastered the reaching, the striving, the careful construction of dreams, yet perhaps you've noticed a subtle resistance when blessings attempt to land in your open hands. The universe speaks in the language of gifts, yet so many stand with clenched fists, believing they must earn every breath of grace. This belief, though born of noble intention, creates an invisible barrier between you and the very abundance you seek to manifest. Consider how a flower receives sunlight without strain, without justification, without the need to prove its worthiness. This natural acceptance is your birthright, though society may have taught you otherwise. The night offers a sacred space to remember this truth, to practice the gentle art of allowing good things to find their way to you. When you lie down to sleep, feel how the bed rises to meet you, supporting your form without demanding explanation or exchange. This is the universe's first lesson in receiving. The simple recognition that you are meant to be held, meant to be nourished, meant to be restored without endless effort. As your breath deepens in the quiet hours, notice how air fills your lungs without negotiation. You don't need to justify your next inhale or prove yourself worthy of oxygen. This natural rhythm demonstrates the ease with which life intends to sustain you. In the darkness, picture yourself as a vessel of light, naturally attracting more light, not through force or merit, but through resonance. When a compliment arrives, it seeks only to illuminate what already shines within you. When an opportunity appears, it recognizes its natural home in your experience. The subconscious mind learns through repetition and feeling. Each night as you drift toward sleep, you have the chance to rehearse this sacred receiving. Let your muscles soften, your thoughts quiet, and your heart open to the possibility that good things can flow to you with ease. Like Francine, you might begin with small acceptances. A kind word here, a moment of support there. Watch how these tiny acts of receiving create ripples, teaching your nervous system that it's safe to be blessed, safe to be seen, safe to be gifted without payment. Practice continues
If you
as you
enjoyed
whisper,
this exclusive audiobook,
"I receive with ease,"
I handpicked this next
and
book
you
which will
imagine
change
good
your
news
life.
landing in your lap while your body stays relaxed. Then you let sleep be the ultimate receiving, letting the night give you restoration without you doing anything at all. Chapter 19. When Doubt Visits. In the gentle shadows before sleep, doubt often whispers its familiar song. You know this melody well, the quiet voice that questions every dream, every sign, every flutter of hope. Yet within these ancient teachings lies a revelation that transforms how you perceive these moments of uncertainty. Think of doubt as passing clouds in your inner sky. Just as clouds neither create nor destroy the sun, doubt cannot diminish the power of your manifestations unless you grant it that authority. The law of attraction responds to your deepest convictions, not your temporary weather. Your subconscious mind seeks not perfection, but persistence. When doubt arises, you need not wage war against it or shame yourself for its presence. Instead, acknowledge it with the same tenderness you would show a concerned friend. Then gently return to your chosen vision. Within the sacred space of night, this practice becomes most potent. As you prepare for sleep, doubt may intensify. This is natural, even expected. It often signals that your manifestation draws near, for doubt is merely the old self's response to imminent transformation. Like a snake shedding its skin, discomfort precedes expansion. The secret lies not in banishing doubt, but in continuing despite it. Your power emerges not from feeling perpetually certain, but from choosing your path even when uncertainty clouds the way. This choice, made night after night, builds a foundation stronger than any momentary conviction. Let your bedroom become a sanctuary where both faith and doubt may exist, but where faith holds the final word. Your practice gains strength not from perfect belief, but from consistent return to your vision. Each time you choose your dream over your doubt, you weave another thread of certainty into the fabric of your manifestation. Remember, the greatest manifestations often arrive through the doorway of doubt. Your task is not to eliminate uncertainty, but to hold your vision alongside it. In this space of acceptance, doubt loses its power to derail your journey. Tonight, as you rest your head upon your pillow, welcome whatever thoughts arise. Whether faith or fear knocks at your door, you remain anchored in your practice. For it is not the absence of doubt that creates miracles, but the presence of trust that surpasses it. Practice becomes a quiet dialogue as you say, "I hear you, and I choose this anyway." Then you return to your gentle inner scene until your breath slows, and you fall asleep not because every doubt is gone, but because your trust is bigger. Chapter 20. The Overnight Shift. Ruth expected fireworks, but her miracle arrived as calm, and she almost missed it because she was trained to look for drama. Each night she had imagined transformation would arrive with thunder and lightning, with signs so obvious they could not be denied. Yet when her manifestation finally appeared, it came as softly as morning light through a window. The core teaching whispers of a truth often overlooked in the pursuit of dramatic change. That night manifestation first alters your internal compass, recalibrating your entire system while you sleep. This subtle shift becomes the foundation from which all external changes flow. The speed of manifestation lies not in the spectacle, but in the quiet certainty that emerges when your inner world has been gently rearranged. Think of how water shapes stone, not through force, but through patient persistence. Your subconscious works in similar ways during sleep, smoothing rough edges and carving new channels for possibility. What appears as sudden luck to others is often the natural outcome of this inner realignment. Jeanette's story illuminates this principle perfectly. She woke one morning feeling finished with an old habit, and that feeling was so natural it startled her. There was no battle, no stern resolution, simply a quiet knowing that something had shifted while she slept. Within days, her external reality began reflecting this inner change in ways she could not have orchestrated through conscious effort alone. The interpretation reveals a profound truth. Your subconscious holds the power to rewrite patterns during sleep, dissolving old limitations without struggle or strain. When these patterns dissolve, reality must reorganize itself to match your new internal blueprint. This reorganization often appears effortless, precisely because it emerges from deep alignment rather than forced change. Tonight, lay aside the expectation of dramatic signs. Release the need for your manifestation to announce itself with fanfare. Instead, welcome the subtle shift that changes everything, the quiet dawn of new possibility that arrives with the gentleness of dew on morning grass. Practice continues as you tell yourself, "I welcome quiet miracles," and you imagine waking up lighter. Then you let sleep carry you into that lighter self, trusting that what feels small inside can become enormous outside. Part 3. Miracles start in your sleep. Chapter 21. The Night of Forgiveness. Evelyn sat with her journal each night, writing affirmations and setting intentions, yet something felt blocked. Her manifestations seemed to hit an invisible wall, bouncing back as if meeting resistance in the air itself. The truth emerged slowly. She was trying to create while carrying a heavy load of past hurts, each one like a stone weighing down her heart. Then came the night she understood. Forgiveness wasn't about condoning what had happened. It wasn't about telling herself the pain didn't matter. Forgiveness was an act of self-liberation, a way to unchain herself from events that had already passed. The core teaching reveals itself with gentle clarity. What you refuse to release keeps you vibrationally tethered to old stories, old pain, old versions of yourself. These tethers act like anchors, holding you in place while you try to move forward. When your energy is bound to the past, it cannot fully participate in creating your future. This is why forgiveness becomes one of the most powerful tools in manifestation. Not because it changes the past, but because it frees your energy to create anew. And night, when your defenses naturally lower and your body seeks rest, provides the perfect sanctuary for this sacred release. Beatrice discovered this truth in a moment of pure simplicity. She had carried a name in her heart like a splinter for years, letting it wound her again and again. One night, she took out a piece of paper and wrote down that name. She allowed herself to cry one last time, feeling the full weight of what that person had meant to her. Then, in the quiet of her bedroom, she whispered words that changed everything. "I release you from my inner world." That night, she slept with a depth she hadn't known in months. The peace that came wasn't the passive peace of giving up. It was the powerful peace of choosing freedom. This is the interpretation that matters most. Peace isn't weakness. It's strength. A peaceful heart becomes a magnet for better experiences, drawing to itself situations and people that match its higher frequency. Tonight, you are invited to choose one small act of forgiveness. Perhaps it's forgiving someone who hurt you. Or perhaps, and this is often the most powerful place to start, it's forgiving yourself for being human, for making mistakes, for not knowing then what you know now. Practice becomes a gentle loosening as you breathe out the weight you have been carrying, and you whisper, "I set myself free," Then you imagine your chest opening like a window, and you fall asleep in the clean air of your own release. Chapter 22. Becoming the Version Who Has It. In the stillness of an ordinary evening, Phyllis paced her room, checking her phone for signs and whispered wishes into the dark. Yet beneath her constant wondering of when hung a deeper question she had not yet asked. Who would she be when it arrived? The arrival was not the miracle. Becoming was. The ancient masters understood a truth often forgotten in modern manifestation. Your desires are sacred invitations, each one a doorway into a new expression of self. What you seek is seeking a version of you prepared to receive it, protect it, and let it flourish. This is why some desires seem to hover just out of reach. They are waiting for you to grow into their keeper. This knowing changes everything about your night practice. Instead of projecting wishes into the darkness, you begin the gentle work of embodiment. Like an actor stepping into a role, you practice the posture, the voice, the quiet dignity of someone who already lives in that reality. Not as pretense, but as preparation. Cecilia understood this when she began imagining herself walking through her dream home each night before sleep. She didn't just see the walls and windows. She felt herself moving with a new steadiness, making decisions with clear authority, treating herself with natural respect. Within weeks, she noticed herself speaking differently in meetings, setting boundaries with grace, choosing situations that honored her worth. The home she desired was teaching her how to become someone who could create it and sustain it. The universe responds not to endless asking, but to energetic matching. When you match the frequency of your desire through your way of being, you create a resonance that makes manifestation feel more like remembering than reaching. This is why night work is so powerful. In the space between waking and sleeping, you can practice new ways of being without resistance. Your invitation tonight is to ask, who am I when this is natural? How do I move through the world? What becomes easy? What no longer fits? Let the answers arise not as a mental exercise, but as a felt sense in your body. You are not forcing a new identity. You are remembering one that already exists within you, waiting to be awakened. Practice continues as you picture yourself tomorrow making one choice from that new identity, feeling it in your spine like gentle strength, and you drift off wearing that version of you, like a soft robe that fits more naturally every night. Chapter 23. The Wealth of Calm. Agnes clutched her calculator each night, adding figures until her temples throbbed, wondering why abundance felt more like punishment than freedom. Her manifestations stalled until she discovered a truth that changed everything. Wealth flows most easily through peaceful channels. The secret lies not in constant calculation, but in training your nervous system to remain steady in the presence of prosperity. When your body believes abundance is safe, your mind makes clearer choices. This is why night practice becomes so vital. It is the perfect time to rewire your relationship with receiving. Think of your financial energy like water. When stirred by fear, it becomes murky, making it difficult to see opportunities clearly. But when allowed to settle like a lake at dusk, clarity emerges naturally. This settling happens best in the gentle moments before sleep, when your defenses soften and new patterns can take root. Lorraine discovered this when she shifted her night practice from frantically visualizing bank balances to simply feeling safe. Instead of chasing numbers, she cultivated a deep sense of enough. This subtle shift changed everything. In meetings, she spoke with quiet confidence. When reviewing contracts, she noticed terms she previously missed. Opportunities began arriving that matched her newfound sense of worth, as if the universe was responding to her peaceful expectation rather than her desperate reach. Many believe that hunger drives success, but hunger often masks fear, and fear distorts decision-making. True abundance flows not from aggressive grasping, but from aligned choosing. When your nervous system learns that prosperity is safe, you stop making choices from scarcity. You recognize value more clearly. You wait for right timing instead of rushing into false opportunities. The paradox is that wealth arrives faster when you stop treating it as an emergency. Each night becomes a chance to practice this new relationship with abundance. Rather than rehearsing lack, you can sink into the feeling of having enough, of being supported, of knowing that resources flow naturally when you are calm enough to direct them wisely. Practice becomes a soft settling as you imagine your finances smoothing out like a lake at dusk, and you let your breath tell your body, "We are safe." Then you fall asleep inside that safety, as if it is already an account you can draw from. Chapter 24. Love that arrives naturally. From the first stars of evening to the last breath before sleep, love calls to be understood not as a chase, but as a settling into your own worthiness. In the deepest hours of night, when the world grows quiet enough to hear your own heart, the ancient truth emerges. That love begins with the tender way you hold yourself. Greta struggled with this wisdom. Each time love approached, she found herself backing away, sending signals of both longing and fear into the universe. Her manifestations came tangled, reflecting her own inner conflict, until she discovered the power of nighttime reconciliation with her own heart. The core teaching whispers that attraction flows not from desperate wanting, but from peaceful being. In relationships, the law of attraction responds not to your wishes, but to your relationship with yourself. When you learn to sit quietly with your own presence, to speak to yourself with gentleness, to expect consistency rather than drama, you broadcast a frequency that calls forth similar energy. This is why night manifestation in matters of the heart focuses not on specific faces or names, but on becoming someone who matches healthy devotion. Your subconscious, that faithful guardian of your deepest patterns, will guide you toward connections that mirror your self-relationship. If you treat yourself with respect and kindness in the midnight hours, you naturally begin to attract those who will do the same. Anita understood this truth. Instead of visualizing grand gestures or intense declarations, she began to imagine being cherished in life's quiet moments. A cup of coffee appearing just when needed, conversations where truth flowed easily, evenings where peace felt as natural as breathing. As she fell asleep, holding these simple scenes, something shifted. She found herself turning away from dramatic entanglements that once seemed exciting. The chaos that used to feel like passion lost its appeal. In its place, space opened for genuine connection, for love that felt like coming home. The interpretation reveals itself. What you tolerate becomes your teaching tool to the universe. Each time you accept less than nurturing love, you reinforce an old story about what you deserve. But when you fall asleep wrapped in the feeling of being cherished, you begin to rewrite that story. Your standards rise naturally, not from judgment, but from knowing your worth. Practice continues as you place a hand over your heart and whisper, "I am safe to be loved well." Then you picture a simple moment of mutual warmth, and you drift into sleep as someone who expects tenderness the way the body expects breath. Chapter 25. Health and the Night Reset. Joan carried stress in her body and tried to force healing with worry until she learned that sleep is the original reset button, and intention can guide that reset. The core teaching is that the body responds to signals of safety, and when you fall asleep in fear, your system stays guarded. But when you fall asleep in comfort, your system can repair, regulate, and restore. This is not replacing medical care. It is partnering with your own biology through belief, breath, and gentle imagery. Your physical form speaks a language older than words, responding not to demands, but to the quiet messages you send through sensation and feeling. When tension becomes your constant companion, your system believes it must maintain vigilance, even in rest. Yet within the sanctuary of night lies an ancient wisdom. Your body knows the path to balance when you grant it permission to find its way. The art of night healing begins with understanding that your cells respond more to peace than to pressure. Each evening becomes an opportunity to reset, not through force, but through acceptance. As you prepare for sleep, you create the conditions for natural restoration by releasing the grip of anxiety and allowing your system to remember its innate intelligence. Marlene imagined her cells like tiny lights organizing into harmony, and she woke feeling more hopeful. Then she began making small, supportive choices that compounded quickly. The interpretation is that healing is often a collaboration between inner state and outer action, and hope is a measurable kind of fuel. Tonight, you offer your body gratitude and a clear message that it is allowed to heal. Your body carries ancient wisdom that knows the rhythm of renewal. When you align your intention with this wisdom, you create space for natural healing to unfold. Sleep becomes not just rest, but active restoration, guided by your trust in the body's inherent capacity to find balance. Practice continues as you breathe slowly, and imagine warm light moving through your body with each exhale, thanking each part for carrying you, and you fall asleep repeating, "My body knows what to do," letting the night become a gentle partner in restoration. Chapter 26. The Courage to be Seen. Louise desired success but hid, and her manifestations arrived halfway because she kept telling life, "Not too much, not too bright, not me." The core teaching is that visibility is a frequency, and if you associate being seen with danger, you will unconsciously shrink, delay, and sabotage. Night manifestation helps you rewire visibility as safety by imagining applause, approval, and peaceful attention without threat, so your subconscious stops pulling you back when opportunity appears. Within the quiet darkness of night, you can begin to explore what it means to be truly seen. This is not about forcing yourself into the spotlight, but rather allowing your light to emerge naturally, like the gradual brightening of dawn. The universe responds not to your effort to be visible, but to your comfort with being noticed. Each evening becomes a sacred space where you can practice the art of presence without the weight of external eyes. Here, in the gentle embrace of solitude, you train your nervous system to recognize recognition as natural, appreciation as safe, and success as your birthright. This is how you begin to dissolve the old programming that equated visibility with vulnerability. Your relationship with being seen shapes every aspect of your manifestation, When you resist visibility, you inadvertently signal to the universe that you are not ready for the very opportunities you desire. Yet when you practice accepting attention with grace, you open channels through which abundance can flow freely. The night holds a special power in this transformation. As your conscious mind softens its grip, you can plant seeds of new possibility in fertile soil. You are not forcing change, but rather allowing your system to update its understanding of safety, one peaceful visualization at a time. Nadine practiced falling asleep, imagining herself sharing her work calmly, and soon she posted, applied, and spoke up with a steadiness that surprised her. The interpretation is that confidence is often installed privately, then expressed publicly, and the night is where that installation happens. Tonight, you let yourself be seen in your imagination with comfort and dignity. Practice becomes a quiet rehearsal as you picture yourself receiving kind attention and staying relaxed, letting your breath stay smooth. Then you drift into sleep telling yourself, "It is safe to shine," and your subconscious begins treating that as the new rule. Chapter 27. The timeline collapses. In the quiet moments before sleep, when the world softens its edges and your mind becomes more receptive, transformation finds its swiftest path. You have been taught that change requires endless patience, that manifestation must unfold through years of effort and waiting. Yet within the sacred space between waking and dreaming, time becomes fluid, malleable to the touch of pure belief. The secret lies not in the calendar's turning chapters, but in the heart's readiness to receive. When you align your inner truth with your desired reality, the universe responds not to the hours spent wishing, but to the moment of complete acceptance. This acceptance, this gentle yet powerful shift in your being, collapses time itself. Consider how quickly you learn to use a new name, to navigate a new home, to embrace a new role. The adjustment that seemed impossible at first became natural within days, all because your mind accepted it as your new normal. This same principle governs manifestation. What feels natural manifests naturally. In the depths of night, as your conscious mind releases its grip on what seems possible, you enter a state where new beliefs take root with remarkable speed. Here, in this fertile darkness, you can install updates to your reality as easily as breathing. Each night becomes an opportunity to close the gap between who you are and who you choose to be. Your subconscious mind does not measure time in minutes or months, but in the distance between resistance and acceptance. When you lie down each night and rehearse the feeling of having what you desire, you are not waiting for time to pass. You are actively dissolving the emotional barriers that create delay. This is why some manifestations seem to appear overnight, while others linger just beyond reach. The difference lies not in their difficulty, but in your readiness to accept them as normal. When you can imagine your desire without a trace of disbelief, without the smallest flinch of unworthiness, you have removed time from the equation. Practice continues as you imagine waking up in the reality you want with no astonishment, only calm gratitude, and you let that calm be the final feeling you carry into sleep, as if the timeline has already folded kindly in your favor. Chapter 28. Handling Fast Results. In the depths of night, when the world grows quiet and expectations soften, lies a sacred truth about manifestation. one that many discover only after their desires begin to materialize. The speed of arrival often surprises those who have grown accustomed to waiting, testing their readiness to receive. Consider how time bends and folds when belief aligns with possibility. Olive had spent years asking the universe for change, carefully crafting her nighttime rituals and holding her vision close. Yet when transformation arrived with swift grace, she found herself stepping back, overwhelmed by the velocity of blessing. Her story mirrors a pattern many encounter on this path, the startling realization that manifestation can happen faster than our fears are prepared to accept. The core teaching whispers a vital truth. Receiving quickly can awaken old wounds of scarcity, stirring doubts that ask, "Do I deserve this?" or "Can this be real?" The key lies not in slowing the blessing, but in expanding your capacity to hold it. Like a vessel being prepared for precious water, you must first create space within. This expansion begins with gentle preparation. You ground yourself in gratitude for what already exists, anchoring your energy in the present moment rather than spinning into future fears. The urge to overthink, to question, to push away. These are merely habits of protection that can be softened with conscious awareness. Charlene's experience illuminates this wisdom. When presented with an opportunity that exceeded her expectations, her first impulse was to retreat into familiar limitation. Instead, she chose to breathe deeply and affirm, "I can hold this." This simple practice transformed a moment of potential self-sabotage into one of empowered choice. In choosing steadiness over fear, she demonstrated that capacity grows through conscious decision. Your capacity to receive is as much a part of your manifestation as the desire itself. When you expand your ability to hold blessing, you create a stable foundation for lasting abundance. This is not about forcing yourself to accept more than feels natural, but rather about gently stretching your comfort with receiving. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, you enter a practice of peaceful readiness. Imagine yourself receiving good news, not with anxiety or disbelief, but with grounded calm. Feel your feet heavy on the floor, your breath moving slowly and steadily, your mind clear and present. Whisper to yourself, "I can receive this safely," and let this affirmation become your lullaby. Practice continues as you imagine good news arriving and you feel your feet heavy on the floor, your breath slow, your mind clear, and you whisper, "I can receive this safely." Then you fall asleep inside that steadiness, ready for blessings that do not require panic. Chapter 29. The Nightly Covenant. Ruby wanted a method, but what changed her life was a relationship with her own inner world, a nightly covenant to return to faith no matter what the day looked like. She discovered that transformation wasn't in the perfect execution of techniques, but in the gentle persistence of showing up each night, like tending a sacred flame that slowly illuminates everything else. The core teaching is that consistency is the quiet superpower, because the subconscious responds to what you do most often, not what you do once in desperation. When you establish a nightly covenant with your inner world, you create a bridge between who you are and who you are becoming. This covenant isn't about rigid rules or harsh demands. It is a soft agreement to meet yourself in the quiet, to choose your intention with care, and to release the weight of the day before sleep claims you. Each night becomes a renewal of trust, a small but powerful choice to believe in the unseen movements of grace. The subconscious learns not from intensity, but from repetition, and what you repeat becomes your default setting, your automatic response, your natural way of being. Georgia missed nights and felt guilty. Then she learned to return without shame, and that return became proof she was committed to her future. She realized that perfect attendance wasn't the point. The point was developing the emotional resilience to begin again, to light the lantern once more without self-judgment. Her manifestations began flowing more easily when she stopped punishing herself for human imperfection and started celebrating her capacity to return. The interpretation is that devotion is not rigidity, it is coming back, and coming back is what builds trust with yourself and with life. Each return strengthens your relationship with your own power. Each gentle beginning again proves that you are committed to your evolution. This is how you build unshakable faith, not through dramatic declarations, but through quiet, consistent recommitment. Tonight, you make a simple promise to your own becoming, gentle enough to keep. This isn't about striving or forcing. It's about creating a sustainable relationship with your manifestation practice, one that can weather doubt, distraction, and delay. Practice continues as you whisper, "I return to my intention with love," and you imagine yourself placing a small lantern by your bed each night, not to force the dark away, but to remind yourself that you are guided. Then you sleep with that lantern glowing quietly in your mind. Chapter 30. Just One Night. Tina believed she needed to be perfect first. Then she tried one night with sincerity instead of perfection, and the momentum that followed proved that the universe responds to readiness more than polish. She discovered that authenticity carried more power than endless preparation, and that single night of honest intention opened a door she had thought was locked. The core teaching is that one aligned night can reset your expectation, and expectation is the mold that reality pours itself into. So you choose the desire, embody the feeling, release the how, and fall asleep as the person who trusts. This final truth distills all that came before. The power lies not in elaborate rituals or flawless execution, but in that pure moment when you decide to believe without reservation. When you align your inner world for just one night, you create a template that the universe recognizes. Your subconscious mind, ever alert to your deepest convictions, begins to arrange your perceptions and choices to match this new template. The process requires no force, no strain, only your willingness to rest in certainty. The book closes its teaching by reminding you that miracles are often the natural result of inner coherence, and coherence is built fastest when you stop performing and start believing. This is not about impressing the universe with your dedication. It is about allowing yourself to receive with the simplicity of a child who has not yet learned to doubt. Yvonne made her one-night intention simple, to feel supported, and she woke with a quiet confidence that led her to the exact conversation she needed, and the chain reaction began. She did not orchestrate the meeting or rehearse her words. She simply carried the feeling of support within her, and life responded to that frequency with perfect timing. The interpretation is that your one night is not about controlling life. It is about cooperating with it, and cooperation looks like calm, clarity, and a willing heart. It is in this space of gentle allowance that the fastest transformations occur, often appearing as natural as leaves turning toward the sun. Tonight is enough, because tonight is where your subconscious opens like a door. This single evening holds all the potential you need to begin. The universe asks only for your sincere participation in this moment, not your lifelong perfect record. Practice becomes a final soft invitation as you choose your one desire. Feel it as already real for just a few breaths. Whisper thank you as if you mean it, and let sleep take you without bargaining, trusting that while you rest, the unseen is already moving pieces into place for your morning to meet. Part 4. The Golden Continuum. Chapter 31. The Memory of Success. Arlene kept remembering her failures until she realized memory is a tool of manifestation just as imagination is, because the subconscious treats whatever you revisit most often as the design for tomorrow. When you replay past defeats each night, you unconsciously recreate their pattern, not because you want to, but because familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar joy. The core teaching is that memory shapes expectation, and expectation shapes attraction. Your mind does not distinguish between a remembered victory and an imagined one. Both create the same neural pathways of possibility. This is why choosing which memories to hold before sleep becomes a crucial practice in night manifestation. When you consciously select moments of triumph, resilience, or unexpected grace to revisit, you are literally rewiring your brain's blueprint for what is possible. You are telling your subconscious, this is who we are. This is what we do. This is how life responds to us. Fern once lay in bed remembering the exact moment she conquered her fear of water. She felt again the initial panic, then the sudden calm as her body found its balance, followed by the surge of pride as she glided across the pool. She held this memory like a treasured photograph, letting its colors brighten in her mind. Within days, when faced with a daunting business opportunity, her body recognized the same pattern: fear, calm, triumph, and moved through it with familiar ease. The venture succeeded beyond her expectations, as if her cells remembered how to transform fear into flight. The interpretation is that success leaves traces in your nervous system, like stars mapping a path home. When you deliberately illuminate these traces before sleep, you create a template for tomorrow's courage. Your past victories become prophecies of future ones, not through magical thinking, but through the simple truth that what you've done once, you can do again. The key is choosing memories that carry genuine power, not manufactured ones or moments of hollow pride. Your subconscious knows the difference between real gold and fool's gold. A small, authentic victory remembered clearly holds more manifestation power than a grand achievement that feels borrowed from someone else's life. Practice continues as you lie back, recalling one moment of genuine triumph, smiling softly, and you let that feeling bloom through your body until it hums. Then you drift into sleep, letting victory be your lullaby. Chapter 32. The Flame of Curiosity. Deep within the heart of manifestation lies a truth often overlooked: the power of curiosity over control. Just as a flower naturally turns toward sunlight without strain, your desires align most effortlessly when you approach them with wonder rather than worry. Rena discovered this wisdom through exhaustion. Each day she gripped her goals tighter, checking progress like someone watching a pot that refuses to boil. Her manifestations felt heavy, weighted by the gravity of her own intensity. Then one evening, lying in bed, She asked herself a different question. What if this could be easy? That simple shift from demanding to wondering changed everything. Instead of forcing outcomes, she began to explore possibilities. Her morning coffee became a moment to ponder what pleasant surprises might unfold. Her commute transformed into an opportunity to notice what was already working well. As her mental grip loosened, life began responding with unexpected gifts. The teaching here reveals a profound secret. Curiosity creates spaces for magic that control cannot enter. When you approach your desires with gentle questions rather than rigid demands, you signal to the universe that you feel safe enough to be surprised. This safety becomes a magnetic force, drawing synchronicities toward you with natural ease. Consider how a child learns, not through forced memorization, but through playful exploration. This same principle applies to manifestation. Your subconscious mind responds more readily to the light touch of wonder than the heavy hand of will. Patty embodied this truth when she replaced her usual bedtime worry with a simple question. What good thing could happen next? She asked this not with anxiety, but with the same delight one feels before opening a gift. Soon, her days began filling with fortunate timing, aligned connections, and opportunities that seemed to arise from nowhere. The interpretation illuminates a vital truth. Fascination is a frequency that attracts support. When you wonder about the good that could unfold, you tune your inner radio to the station where miracles play most often. Your questions become invisible hands reaching into the field of infinite possibilities, drawing back pearls of potential that rigid reaching would have missed. The universe responds most generously to those who remain curious about its gifts. Like a friend who delights in surprising someone who appreciates the unexpected, life often exceeds the imagination of those who approach it with wonder rather than demands. Practice glows on as you whisper, "I wonder how beautifully this will unfold," letting questions feel like music rather than panic, and you fall asleep as an explorer expecting delightful news. Chapter 33. The Choice to Stay Gentle. In the quiet shadows of her bedroom, Minna tried to manifest through aggression, pushing herself to think high vibes only until exhaustion became her new baseline. Then she discovered that gentleness multiplies power because it signals safety. Her transformation began when she stopped treating manifestation like warfare and started approaching it with the tenderness one might use to coax a flower into bloom. The teaching says your nervous system is both stage and actor. If the stage shakes, the performance falters. Like a delicate instrument, your inner world requires careful tuning, not forceful demands. When you allow your thoughts to flow with grace rather than grip, your frequency naturally rises without strain. Gentle thoughts stabilize faster creations because they don't trigger the body's defense mechanisms. This truth lies at the heart of swift manifestation. The softer you become with yourself, the more quickly your desires materialize. Think of your mind as a still pond. Each harsh thought creates ripples that disturb the surface, while gentle acceptance maintains the clarity needed for perfect reflection. This mirrors how the universe responds to your energy. Force creates resistance, while gentleness invites cooperation. Cora once scolded herself for doubt, treating every fearful thought as evidence of failure, then replaced criticism with comfort, and her results began landing quickly. She discovered that speaking to herself as a trusted friend, yielded better outcomes than acting as her own harsh critic. Where she once saw doubt as the enemy, she learned to acknowledge it with compassion, and in that acceptance, her manifestations gained momentum. The interpretation reminds that kindness is the shortest route. It's not merely about being nice to yourself. It's about creating an inner environment where manifestation can occur naturally, without resistance. When you treat yourself with gentleness, you tell the universe that you're ready to receive with grace. Practice settles in as you breathe a tender sentence to yourself, forgiving the day entirely, and you rest as if compassion itself is tucking you in. Chapter 34. Listening Through Emotion. In the gentle hours before sleep, when the world grows quiet and the heart speaks most clearly, your emotions rise like lanterns in the dark. For so long you may have treated them as unwanted guests, pushing away their wisdom in pursuit of forced positivity. Yet within each feeling lies a sacred message waiting to guide you toward manifestation. The ancient teachings whisper of a deeper truth. Your emotions serve as an internal compass, each sensation a signal pointing toward or away from alignment. When relief floods your body, it speaks of rightness, of stepping into harmony with your desires. When tension grips your shoulders or anxiety clouds your mind, it illuminates where beliefs need softening, where resistance still lives. These feelings are not obstacles to overcome, but teachers offering precise guidance. Like a loving parent who knows when a child needs comfort or correction, your emotional body knows what serves your highest good. The law of attraction responds not to what you think, but to what you feel, for feeling is the language of manifestation. Through countless nights, souls before you have discovered this truth. They learn to sit with their emotions like trusted friends, listening for the whispered wisdom beneath the surface. A tear shed in honesty often clears the path faster than 100 forced smiles. When you welcome emotion as feedback rather than failure, you open the channel of receiving. Your feelings become allies in creation, each one carrying a message about what you truly believe possible. Relief signals alignment, while discomfort points to where old stories still need releasing. The night holds space for this gentle exploration. As you prepare for sleep, let your feelings arise without judgment. If frustration visits, ask what it needs. If joy bubbles up, let it expand. Each emotion carries a gift, guidance toward your deepest desires. Practice continues as you sit in your emotion like warm water. Breathe until it tells you its need, whisper thank you, and slip into tranquil sleep with understanding instead of resistance. Chapter 35. The Play of the Child. Nettie was tired of maturity that meant worry, and the night she pretended life was a game she started winning again. She had spent years perfecting the art of concern, wearing it like a badge of adulthood, until her manifestations felt heavy with the weight of seriousness. Then one evening, lying in bed, she decided to break the rules of her own gravity. She imagined her desires as colorful balloons, her doubts as soap bubbles that popped with a giggle, and her future as a treasure hunt with clues already scattered along her path. The lesson is that inner play resets vibration to innocence, the state where miracles feel logical. When you approach manifestation with playful spirit, you bypass the mind's need for proof and permission. Like a child building castles in the air, you remember that creation requires no credentials, only imagination and willingness to believe. Play dissolves delay because the mind releases proving. It stops asking how and starts asking what if. And in that shift, possibilities multiply like stars appearing at dusk. In the realm of play, timing loosens its grip, outcomes dance instead of march, and the universe responds with matching lightness. Your inner child knows secrets your adult mind has forgotten, that life responds to joy more readily than to force, that magic prefers laughter to logic, and that wishes wrapped in delight travel faster than those weighted with worry. Dora discovered this truth when she danced around her room thanking imaginary applause. She spun in circles, bowed to invisible audiences, and accepted phantom awards with exaggerated grace. Her laughter filled the space where anxiety used to live, and within days, real celebration followed. The universe, it seemed, had joined her game, transforming her playful rehearsal into tangible recognition. The interpretation is that play trains trust faster than logic. When you treat manifestation as a joyful experiment rather than a serious task, you release the resistance that comes from overthinking. Play bypasses the critical mind and speaks directly to the subconscious in its native language of pure possibility. Practice continues as you recall childlike delight. Smile into your pillow and let sleep find you while joy hums like soft laughter in your chest. Chapter 36. The Whisper of Enough. Mamie constantly acted as if more was the only proof of worth, until she said aloud, "I already have plenty for tonight." And that one sentence unclenched decades of strain. Her shoulders dropped, her jaw softened, and something ancient inside her finally exhaled. She had spent years proving, achieving, gathering, treating life like an endless exam where enough was always just out of reach. The teaching reveals that contentment speeds manifestation, because gratitude leaves room for arrival, while neediness keeps the gate jammed with fear. When you recognize the abundance already present, you signal to the universe that you trust its flow. Your energy shifts from grasping to receiving, from lack to appreciation, and this shift is what allows more to enter naturally. Think of a cup that's already full. Nothing more can be added until some space is made. Similarly, when your mind is full of what's missing, there's no room for new blessings to land. The art is to find satisfaction in what exists now, not as a way of settling, but as a way of opening. Gilda once counted her blessings until sleep and woke to new opportunities. She had started small, the warmth of her bed, the rhythm of her breath, the peace of the night. As she named each gift, her nervous system settled into a profound recognition. Life was already supporting her. That recognition became a magnetic field that drew more support effortlessly. The interpretation is that enough attracts excess naturally. When you stop treating abundance as something to chase and start experiencing it as your natural state, you align with its frequency. The universe responds not to what you want, but to what you vibrate, and contentment vibrates at the frequency of plenty. Practice drifts as you list quiet blessings until your breath slows, feeling sufficiency silk through you. Then you close your eyes, smiling at how complete you already are. Chapter 37. Allowing Surprise. Josie wrote fixed outcomes and complained when the universe misunderstood, until she loosened her grip and invited surprise. What arrived surpassed anything she had scripted. Each morning she would meticulously detail her manifestations, leaving no room for the universe to breathe its magic into the spaces between her words. Her prayers became contracts, her intentions turned to demands, and her manifestations arrived with a heaviness that felt more like compromise than miracle. The teaching says, manifestation requires humility to be amazed, because limitation disguised as precision creates friction. When you outline every detail, you close the infinite doors through which abundance might enter. The universe operates in patterns far more intricate than human planning can conceive. Your role is not to draft the blueprint, but to cast the vision and remain open to how it unfolds. This is the subtle art of divine collaboration, knowing what you want deeply enough to feel it, yet remaining flexible enough to be delighted by its arrival. It is like planting a seed with the wisdom to know that while you can nurture the soil, you cannot dictate how each leaf will unfold or which morning the flower will choose to bloom. Artis once wished vaguely for travel, then was gifted a retreat for work. She had mentioned in passing her desire to see new places, but hadn't specified where or when. The universe responded with an invitation to lead workshops across the country, combining her passion with her purpose in a way she hadn't imagined possible. Surprise proved generosity. Her openness created a channel for something far more aligned than her limited planning could have designed. The interpretation is that the universe adores creativity when you stop micromanaging. It delights in showing you possibilities that exceed your expectations, paths that merge your deepest desires with service to others, and synchronicities that feel like magic precisely because they weren't plotted on your map. Practice continues as you whisper, "Astonish me kindly," and drift toward sleep smiling at possibilities wider than your logic. Chapter 38. The Rhythm of Trust. Beryl alternated between belief and panic, slowing the rhythm of her manifestations like a song with missing beats, until she learned steady trust keeps tempo for miracles. In the quiet moments before sleep, she would surge with hope, only to crash into doubt minutes later, creating an exhausting pattern that left her desires dancing just out of reach. The teaching here reveals a fundamental truth about the nature of manifestation. It responds not to intensity, but to consistency. Like a garden that thrives on regular gentle rain rather than occasional floods, your desires flourish in the steady climate of sustained belief. When you learn to maintain an even pulse of faith, the universe begins to mirror that stability back to you in tangible ways. Your subconscious mind seeks patterns it can trust, and erratic belief creates erratic results. The key is not to eliminate all doubt, but to develop a gentle persistence that keeps flowing despite temporary turbulence. Think of trust as a quiet song you hum throughout your day, one that becomes especially clear as you prepare for sleep. Lila discovered this wisdom through necessity. Each evening she would sit on the edge of her bed and consciously slow her breathing until it matched the peaceful rhythm she wished to maintain. Rather than trying to force excitement or suppress fear, she simply returned to that steady beat whenever her mind wandered. Soon, she noticed small synchronicities appearing like musical notes in perfect time. A timely phone call, an unexpected solution, a spontaneous opportunity. The interpretation is clear. Miracles have their own choreography, and they move most gracefully when your inner state provides a consistent tempo. It's not about reaching for peak experiences, but about maintaining a reliable rhythm of trust that the universe can dance to. This steadiness becomes particularly powerful in the moments before sleep, when your conscious resistance naturally softens. Instead of using this time to rehearse worst-case scenarios or demand immediate results, you can simply align with the gentle metronome of faith. Practice enters as you breathe evenly, counting until your heart relaxes into a slow metronome of faith. Then you sleep in sync with comfort. Chapter 39. The Shadow Blessing. In the depths of a moonless night, Eunice sat before her mirror, tears streaming as she scrolled through images of others' successes. Her heart burned with a familiar ache until she paused, placed her hand over her chest, and whispered, "What are you trying to tell me?" The core teaching reveals that our shadows hold treasures when we dare to examine them with compassion. Like a map drawn in invisible ink, jealousy illuminates the precise coordinates of your soul's unexpressed desires. Your envy does not speak of lack. It speaks of recognition. When you feel that sharp pang watching another's victory, your subconscious is whispering, "This belongs to you too." You see, the darkness within is not your enemy. It is your guide, pointing precisely to where your light wishes to expand. Each twinge of jealousy marks a place where your potential lies dormant, waiting to be acknowledged and embraced. The universe sends these shadow feelings not as punishment, but as invitation. Viola discovered this truth one evening as she watched a speaker command a room with grace. Instead of turning away from her jealousy, she turned toward it, asking softly, "What do you wish to become?" That simple question transformed her envy into crystal clarity. She had always longed to share her voice. Within months, she found herself standing on stages, her former jealousy now a compass that had led her home. The interpretation reminds us that our darkness holds data, precise coordinates for our next evolution. When you honor these feelings without judgment, they transform from thorns to keys, unlocking doors to expression that were always meant to open. Practice continues as you recall one uncomfortable emotion, thank it for showing where to grow, and you slide into rest, imagining that energy transmuting into light, moving toward your dream. Chapter 40. The Language of Patience. In the quiet depths of an ancient valley, there lived a woman who spent her days watching the mountain snows, convinced that spring would never arrive. Each evening she would count the frozen peaks, her heart heavy with waiting, until one wise traveler taught her that the snow melts not through force, but through trust in the sun's perfect timing. The core teaching whispers that patience is not passive endurance, but rather the most potent form of power. When you align with divine timing, you enter a state of relaxed readiness that magnifies your manifesting ability. This is the difference between standing guard at the mailbox and preparing your home for abundance. One creates tension, the other creates space. Your subconscious understands timing at a level deeper than thought. It knows that just as fruit ripens in its season, desires materialize when the inner and outer conditions align perfectly. Susie marked each day with disappointment until she learned that patience was not waiting sadly, but rather maintaining a state of peaceful expectancy. This shift transformed her energy from desperate to magnetic, and her manifestations began arriving with an ease that surprised her. The universe responds not to the intensity of your wanting, but to the stability of your receiving state. When you declare through patience that you can hold the space for your desire, you broadcast a frequency of trust that accelerates rather than delays. Martha discovered this when she replaced rigid deadlines with what she called trust lines, flexible periods of allowing that removed the resistance of forced timing. As she relaxed into divine timing, she noticed that opportunities arrived more efficiently than her careful planning could have arranged. The interpretation reveals that divine timing is actually the most efficient path to manifestation, though it may not match your mind's preferred schedule. What appears as delay is often protection, preparation, or the careful arrangement of circumstances for your highest good. Practice continues as you exhale slowly, smile at tomorrow, and drift off murmuring, "Everything is unfolding right on time." Part 5. The Quiet Power of Trust. Chapter 41. Becoming a Lighthouse. In the quiet of the night, when the world's demands soften and your heart speaks most truthfully, emerges a profound truth about attraction and manifestation. Your signal to the universe is not measured in volume but in clarity, not in desperation but in certainty. Winifred discovered this wisdom through nights of pleading with the stars, begging for rescue from circumstances that felt overwhelming. Her prayers were earnest but rooted in lack, until one evening she understood her role was not to beg but to become. Like a lighthouse standing firm against darkness, she realized her purpose was to shine her own light, making her presence known to the universe with unwavering certainty. The teaching whispers an ancient truth. Clarity carries more magnetic power than desperate pleas. When you emanate clear intention, like a beacon cutting through fog, those meant to support your journey can navigate directly to you. Your certainty becomes a frequency that aligned help can tune into, creating bridges of synchronicity that once seemed impossible. Odessa embodied this principle when she stopped diminishing her vision to make others comfortable. Each night she practiced sitting with her dreams without apology, letting them fill her being until they radiated from her naturally. She spoke of her intentions with the same ease as describing the color of the sky, and in that authenticity, doors began to open. Partners who resonated with her vision seemed to appear as if they had been waiting in the wings, drawn by the clarity of her signal. The interpretation reveals a subtle but powerful shift in manifestation mechanics. The universe responds more readily to the steady pulse of certainty than to the erratic energy of worry. Like moths to a flame, the resources and relationships you seek are attracted not to your need, but to your light. This is not about perfection or performance, but about allowing yourself to be clearly seen in your truth. Each night becomes an opportunity to align your inner beacon, to let your desires shine through you with gentle confidence rather than desperate force. Practice continues as you imagine your aura glowing calm across the world. Whisper, "My clarity calls exactly what is mine," and you drift into radiant rest. Chapter 42. Returning to Wonder. A soft rain fell one evening as Millie May sat by her window, watching droplets trace silver paths down the glass. For years she had prided herself on what she called mature thinking, a calculated approach to life that left no room for childish amazement. Yet as she observed each drop's unique journey, something stirred within her that she had long forgotten. The core teaching reveals that wonder is not merely an emotional indulgence, but a powerful magnetic force in manifestation. When you allow yourself to marvel at existence, you expand your capacity to receive. Your perception shifts from narrow certainty to wide possibility, and in that widening, miracles find space to enter. Wonder signals to the universe that you are available to be surprised, to be delighted, to be moved by forces larger than your logical mind can comprehend. It is through this openness that manifestation accelerates, because what you appreciate appreciates in return. Ada discovered this truth one morning as she watched the sunrise paint the sky in colors she had never named. Instead of rushing through her routine, she paused to truly witness the daily miracle unfolding before her. In that moment of pure appreciation, she felt herself align with the infinite creativity of the universe. Within days, her own creative blocks dissolved, and inspiration began flowing as naturally as the dawn. The interpretation reminds us that cynicism is often fear disguised as wisdom. When you close yourself to wonder, you close yourself to the very magic that orchestrates manifestation. But when you choose to see the world through eyes of appreciation, you activate a frequency that attracts more to appreciate. Wonder is not naive. It is powerful. It is the recognition that existence itself is an ongoing miracle, and that you are part of that miracle. When you approach life with genuine awe, you align with the creative force that turns dreams into reality. Practice continues as you look inward, picturing something beautiful. Feel the gratitude of witnessing, and you fall asleep charmed again by existence. Chapter 43. The Comfortable Future. Delia imagined her dream with anxiety and kept delaying it until she practiced picturing success as emotionally easy, safe, calm. Each night as she lay in bed, her thoughts would race with all the things that could go wrong, all the ways she might fail, all the judgment she feared. This constant emotional tension created a barrier between her and her desires, like a wall of thorns growing higher with each worried thought. The teaching here reveals a profound truth about manifestation. If the dream feels heavy, the subconscious interprets it as danger. Your inner mind does not distinguish between real and imagined threats. It responds to the emotional weight you attach to your visions. When you picture your future with anxiety, you train your nervous system to view success as something to fear rather than embrace. The key is to make the future comfortable now. This means deliberately practicing the feeling of ease around your vision, allowing yourself to inhabit it with a relaxed spirit. Instead of forcing intensity or urgency, you let your dream feel as natural as breathing, as simple as watching clouds drift across a summer sky. Irene discovered this secret one peaceful evening. Rather than pushing against her doubt, she began imagining her success with lightness, seeing herself moving through her achieved goals with grace and calm. She pictured herself handling meetings with ease, receiving abundance with quiet gratitude, and navigating new responsibilities with steady confidence. Within weeks, opportunity arrived seamlessly, appearing in her life with the same gentle quality she had practiced in her imagination. The interpretation illuminates an essential principle. The temperament of your vision determines its speed. When you infuse your dreams with struggle, tension, and heaviness, you create resistance in the very fabric of manifestation. But when you allow your vision to float with grace, to exist in your mind with peace and lightness, you remove the emotional barriers that slow its arrival. Practice continues as you picture your goal as serene, feeling yourself smiling peacefully within it, and you drift off, letting comfort magnetize success. Chapter 44. The Art of Invisible Progress. Pearl almost quit because surface reality stayed the same, unaware that roots were forming beneath perception. Like a gardener who gives up the day before sprouts emerge, she nearly abandoned her practice when visible proof felt scarce. Yet in that moment of doubt, she remembered the ancient wisdom that nature's greatest miracles begin in darkness. The teaching urges respect for what cannot yet be photographed. Your manifestation grows first in the soil of your subconscious, establishing networks of belief and readiness before breaking through to daylight. Just as a mighty oak requires months of underground development before the first green shoot appears, your desire builds foundations in the invisible realm before emerging in the physical world. Consistency keeps the soil warm. Each night you tend to your inner garden, you maintain the perfect temperature for growth. Your practice may seem repetitive, yet it is this very repetition that creates the conditions for breakthrough. The subconscious responds not to intensity, but to steady devotion, like gentle rain that nourishes deeper than a flash flood. Clarabelle ignored appearances for 30 days, and everything ripened at once. She continued her nightly ritual, even when her mirror showed no change, even when her bank account held steady, even when others questioned her faith. Then, as if orchestrated by an unseen conductor, multiple doors opened simultaneously. A job offer arrived the same week as an unexpected opportunity, while a relationship healed without effort, proving that manifestation often completes itself in quantum leaps rather than linear steps. The interpretation shows that invisibility is gestation, not failure. What appears as stagnation on the surface may be profound reorganization underneath. The universe works in layers, and your only task is to maintain the inner atmosphere of expectation while the elements arrange themselves according to divine timing. Practice continues as you affirm quietly, unseen does not mean undone, then close your eyes, trusting the undercurrents to complete their masterpiece. In this gentle surrender to the wisdom of process, you allow your manifestation to develop at the depth it requires, knowing that what grows slowly often lasts longest. Chapter 45. The Circle Completed. In the depths of a winter evening, Vera sat with her diary filled with unanswered questions, each page bearing the weight of conversations never finished and moments left hanging in mid-air. She had spent years seeking resolution from others, pursuing explanations that would somehow make her past feel complete. Each attempt left her feeling more fragmented, until one night she discovered a profound truth. Closure was not a gift others could give, but a grace she could grant herself. The core teaching illuminates that our subconscious mind seeks completion like water seeks level ground. Yet this completion rarely comes through external validation or answers. Instead, it arrives through the gentle alchemy of inner acceptance, when forgiveness replaces the need to understand and gratitude transforms even difficult chapters into necessary parts of our story. Your manifestations accelerate when you stop carrying unfinished emotional business, because each incomplete experience acts like a small leak in your energetic vessel. These leaks scatter your creative force across time, tethering portions of your power to old stories that no longer serve your becoming. Addie discovered this truth during a sleepless night when her manifestations felt stalled. Rather than pushing harder toward her future, she turned inward with tenderness. Taking out her journal, she began writing thank you notes to each version of herself, the one who survived disappointment, the one who dared to dream again, even the one who made mistakes she once judged harshly. As she acknowledged each chapter with gratitude, something shifted. The next morning, opportunities began flowing as if a dam had quietly dissolved during her sleep. The interpretation reveals the final wisdom of this sequence. Integration equals acceleration. When you gather all parts of your story into wholeness, when you stop rejecting chapters that feel uncomfortable, you reclaim the energy once spent on resistance. This reclamation creates a surge in your manifesting power because completion in your inner world magnetically attracts completion in your outer experience. Practice continues as you breathe blessings to every chapter of your own life, feeling loops sealed into gold circles, and you surrender to sleep inside conclusion that glows like dawn. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. Through these chapters, you have discovered that your greatest manifestation power resides not in endless striving, but in the sacred pause where effort dissolves into trust. Sleep is not a break from creation. It is creation's deepest workshop, where your subconscious accepts new patterns without resistance. When you honor the night as hallowed ground, you redirect precious energy from worry into expectation. This expectation becomes your baseline, training your entire system to operate from certainty rather than hope. These practices were never about forcing the universe's hand. They were about dissolving the inner barriers that slow what is already in motion. You have learned to select a single focus, to communicate through imagery and sensation, to surrender control of the path, to transform limiting narratives, to embrace subtle guidance, and to expand your capacity for receiving swift blessings. Above all, you have discovered that one night of aligned intention can pivot an entire lifetime, because your subconscious does not demand years of effort to shift. It requires only clear direction, offered with gentleness and sealed with rest. As you continue this practice night after night, your external reality will begin mirroring your new identity, one who anticipates support, who rests in divine timing, who takes inspired action without fear, and who recognizes peace as confirmation. The miracles that germinate in your sleep may not always appear as dramatic events. Often they manifest as precisely timed connections, crystalline insights, courageous decisions, or moments of peaceful clarity. You will know them by their natural quality, as if life itself has aligned with the truth you claimed in darkness. Your subconscious has been listening all along, ready to translate your nighttime certainty into daytime synchronicity. The bridge between what you desire and what manifests is built not of strain, but of surrender.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.